Hey everybody, this is your boy John, aka Captain Mustache here, and on today's episode of Geeks from the Multiverse podcast, we're going to be talking about characters, concepts, as well as just some other strange facts and other things regarding the Earthworm Jim series we're doing with AI versus Hollywood. So stay tuned.
We're geeks from the multiverse. We've come to unite all geeks. Now it's time to get geeky and dive right in, 'cause we're geeks from the multiverse.
Hey everybody, again, this is your boy John, aka Captain Mustache, as one of the co-hosts here, and as always with me is your boy, Mr. Grumpy Beard.
What's up, everybody?
So yes, diving not quite into it yet, but yes, the good old Earthworm Jim, AI versus Hollywood thing that we're doing. I honestly think so far, I mean, it's been an interesting one because again, this is an original. Well, let me rephrase that. It's taking an original idea, but now more enhancing it. Kind of the whole point of the AI versus Hollywood, which we were originally talking about doing from the beginning. But I love how the last two that we've done, yes, it was actually original concepts that we were coming up with. But this one is just like, how do we reimagine it and like really take it up a notch? This one with Earthworm Jim, since we already have the established character,
Right.
So yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
I feel like you have a question to ask me. Matt.
I do have a question, just a little bit of small talk before we get into this, because I've been seeing, and this is like a weird fashion thing, and I, for the life of me, like I don't know, and it spawned this question because I feel like I know the answer to it because I've never seen you wear this, like, since I've known you. So I feel like I know the answer to this. But
Okay.
I've seen enough guys
Okay, guys.
wear this type of shirt
Okay.
in public.
I'm a little
And
confused now.
I am confused at the point of, why do people wear this type of shirt in public or to events, mind you?
Okay.
And my question to you is, would you leave your house wearing a wife beater as your primary outer shirt?
Well, Matt, you're right. Since you've known me, no, I've never worn a wife beater, and I know we're not going to go down a rabbit hole here. I would say as a kid, I did occasionally wear a wife beater, but I tried it. I did it for a little bit, but I never really like got into. I understand now what you're talking about, and I've seen it. Yes. No, I'm gonna say it right, and unfortunately, I'm not saying people that aren't sophisticated can't wear wife beaters, but it's almost like a culture, maybe a certain status. Like it might just be comfortable. Like you're like, hey, let me throw on a shirt, but then really it's a wife beater, and then they go out and they go do the thing. It's like they're like, well, it's a tank top. I mean, yes and no, but unfortunately, it sucks that we have to use the term wife beater because yes, originally, yes, the whole point of it what it was back in the days, yes, there was guys that were actually beating the shit out of their wives wearing that exact thing, and then hence the term, the name. But we can't call it anything else, right? But we have to call it a wife beater.
Well, I
See
mean,
what I'm saying?
I think there's a definitive difference between a tank top and what those are. Like I am actually wearing one underneath this shirt.
I'm sorry, you're wearing
Because-
a wife beater?
Because these are undershirts. But when I walk into Walmart and I see a dude wearing one, or like last night I was working at Fright Kingdom, and there are customers, like, you have to understand, tickets for Fright Kingdom are $38. You're paying $38 to go to an event. This is an event. You're not going to see a movie where you're sitting in the dark for 2 hours watching a movie. I can almost maybe understand if you go to a movie and you're wearing one, but you're going to an event in public.
Yeah, I mean,
I would not wear, and I'm calling it a wife beater because that's what that's just what society has
it's
labeled.
it's a
you know
slang
what I
term,
mean?
but yeah.
I would not wear one Like, I would not consciously pick up the shirt from my dresser drawer and be like, yeah, this is the shirt I'm wearing today.
Well, I'm gonna say this. Okay, so when you think of, I'm only using it as the term, right? So you can call it undershirt, a wife beater, whatever you want to call it. Typically, yes, people would wear it like underneath like a dress shirt or, maybe like a flannel or some whatever, right? Or like another shirt, usually for whatever, or like a jersey in your case, and other things. Like I agree, like there are certain shirts you can do that with. Like I know some of the it's up to you. I mean, you can wear it for basically anything you want to wear, but at the same time, I haven't worn one in such a long time that I just, I haven't really, I don't know, like it just wasn't my thing. I mean, I tried it out. Like I said, it was not something I would do all the time, but yeah, I mean, going to public and, or going out to the public and, going to an event like, like the haunt or like grocery shopping or something like that. Like, not particularly. I mean, and this is why I said before, like the whole like social, like it's like the economic status. Like, and I'm just saying because realistically, back in the day, it was like your kind of poorer folks that would wear a lot of the wife beaters, and like you're kind of lower class. Like you wouldn't see too many rich people wearing wife beaters. In this case, now, I mean, if you want to say it, I mean, even like music, right? So when you look at like rap and stuff like that, they still wear that shit. They'll still wear wife beaters. They'll still do all
Right,
that.
but
But
I don't
what
think
it is.
I mean, I think if I was going to the store, and I think for most people, if you were going to like, I say Walmart, I mean, I don't think there's really a dress code that
No,
you could fit into Walmart, but
or even Market Basket, depending on where you're at.
Hannaford, or God forbid you were like walking around the mall, I would just have one of these on and be like, hey, I'm looking good. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, but
like,
again, I mean, so like for both of us, right? I mean, I'll say it. We're both bigger guys, and it's not something that I would feel comfortable wearing out in public personally if it was just me. Like I don't
could
feel like
personally see if I was like, okay, if I went for like, maybe I was walking around the block, or if I went for, if I was actually going on a walk, and
yeah.
I was starting to get hot, and I took off the shirt I was wearing and I had one underneath. Like, okay. But even though I'm in public, like my intention wasn't to leave the house and be like, this is my shirt I'm wearing and I'm going to the mall, and later on we're going to go to Fright Kingdom, and like I'm just not going to events as this is like my primary shirt. And like,
Well, here's something I just found out recently. It's kind of stupid. So this one, it kind of ties into, what we're saying here, but like, for some reason, this generation coming up they're actually bringing back, 90s kind of trends. And so, like, for example, Air Force Ones, right? This is just an example, just like a shoe. Most people are saying that's like an old person shoe. Okay. And I kid you not. They're saying it's an old person shoe, these Air Force Ones that are popular, right? Hold on. You know what they're bringing back now? And this is where I didn't want to wear this in high school for sure. It was the old style New Balances that, your typical, we'll say, older individuals, right, that would wear them. So they're bringing that back, and that's cool for them. That's what it is now.
you're talking the dad shoe.
Pretty similar, yeah. And I mean, and that's what's in. And I'm sitting there like, so you think that's cool? And these baggy, hold on, and then they're bringing baggy jeans. Like I'm talking like, like the big,
Those are the Jenkos.
right? But like the
bell
bottoms, almost like bell bottoms in that sense. And I'm sitting there like, so all this shit that you're before we're like, oh, we don't want to bring that back. Now they're bringing that shit back.
Yeah, those are like the big parachute jean.
Yeah, they're
like
bringing
the
it back.
Jean pants. Like those are some of those. Like in high school, were ridiculous. Like people were like,
they were so huge, man.
Each pant leg was basically like a dress.
I mean, at that point, you could actually fit another person in your pants.
You 100% could.
No, but
I wanted to just make a little. I wanted to pose that question because I thought I knew the answer, and I was pretty much right.
Well, no, like I said, I haven't worn it in a while, but I mean, at the same time,
I could see where like I would wear. I mean, I would assume like once I got home, like I would take this jersey off.
Oh yeah,
and I would wear it around. I would wear it around the house. Like I don't care because I would want to be comfortable. But I would not leave the house just wearing this and be like, yeah, fuck you. I don't care what I'm wearing, and like just wear this. Like no, this is an undershirt. I'm wearing it as an undershirt, and that's what it's supposed to be.
Well,
like, you don't go to Walmart or like a a store and like you don't see these fucking things on hangers and they're like $5.99. You know,
No,
what I mean?
it's like your like underwear. It's like in that same packaging. It's
Yeah.
like you just see it in packs. So, I mean, maybe you know what? Maybe just because you said that, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'll take a look at it at some point. I haven't found the right one that actually like is comfortable for me because I mean I understand it's supposed to be like kind of a little bit tighter fitting in some ways, but it like I know there's ones that are bigger. Whatever. The point is like it depends
Yeah.
on you and whatever you want to do. But anyways, let's jump right into AI versus Hollywood.
Hollywood's broken, the scripts are looking dead. Can't follow the blueprint with DI rules. So we fired up the circuits, let AI take control. In case you didn't know.
Yeah, buddy. Anyways, no, it's funny because Matt and I, especially after every like little like I call it jingle, but it's not really a jingle, but like we have like the skit music and stuff. I just every time we always do these like funny faces and all this. I know you guys can't
If
see
we
it,
were
but
on camera, man,
we'd be screwed.
Oh, yeah.
It would be funny to watch,
It would be funny to watch, yeah.
but we'd be like, yeah, that's just who we are. Sorry, that's just what it is. But anyways, yes, talking.
One of these
Oh, go
days
ahead.
we will be on camera and it'll be on YouTube and you can watch it.
And you will
Because
find
it will be
hilarious.
hilarious. Because I mean, you're over there drumming and like you know like mime singing, and I'm over here like drumming, and oh yeah, it was epic.
No, and then like I said, it's just one of those things. That's just again, we're two goofy guys on two different mics here. But anyways, good old Earthworm Jim and the movie treatment that we're going to be talking about with the main characters, and yes, we're also going to be talking about who AI has decided to cast for these characters as well. And so we did mention one, which was your favorite actress of all time. Matt's like, shut up. That's not my favorite actress of all time. That's like, and that's why I said when I mentioned Ghostbusters, you're like, shut up. That's the worst movie of all time. Get it right.
It is pretty bad, but
I know.
yeah. So I guess we're going all the way down to Queen Mucus Chugger.
No, we don't have to go down to Miku. No, we go.
Well,
to
you
the
already
list.
mentioned her, so
Oh, fine.
we'll mention her first. And she is technically the villain, the antagonist of the story because she is the queen of the Glooparians. She is the casting for her is Melissa McCarthy, like we said in the last episode. So her appearance is a grotesque alien, basically like we said, she's an alien, but the older they get, or the bitchier, right? We said that in the last episode.
Right.
The bitchier they get, and the older they get, they kind of like, I guess, just
ooze,
ooze,
You know,
right? They just
all slime and
yeah, they're just all
disgusting
slime.
looking.
So her regal robes are basically glued to her body because of her mucus covered, constantly
mean-
oozing. It's just she's gross.
I mean,
At the end of the day.
here's the thing, though. I mean, I'm not saying it would actually happen, but let's say she's sleeping. Like, is it just like it's just like starting to overflow the bed in the bed? You know what I mean? It just
Yeah.
would look weird in some
Ugh.
ways. Ooh, he's like,
Ugh.
ooh, don't do that.
But she is the ruler of Osirian 6.
Oh no, it's not Osirian. It's
Uzeron.
There you go.
Uzeron. So, man, I just can't talk today.
Osirian.
Uzirian and appearance. I don't know. So Uzeron 6. She is loud, bossy. She's flamboyantly grotesque. I love that. Flamboyantly grotesque.
Well, see, since we mentioned certain fashion trends earlier, like you don't. I mean, I'm not saying we don't use the word flamboyant as often, but it's not a term that you mostly hear unless you're like describing somebody's. Let's just say again with the whole LGBTQ kind of thing, like like
Yeah.
hey, they're very flamboyant over there.
She's comfortable with her
What, sexuality.
she's Well, probably that too. But she's comfortable with her oozing and grotesqueness. I'll say that.
Yeah, because she'll probably think she's the hot shit. You know.
Oh,
the
I'm
queen
sure.
hot
Yeah,
shit.
I'm sure she does. So she commands the Globlobs and her Glob Squad, which her Glob Squad is like her military, her army. It's her kind of personal bodyguards as well. Like they are her Glooparian soldiers that she commands with an iron slimed covered fist.
Yeah.
Her motivation is, at least in the movie, like she wants this. Well, once she finds out that her daughter, the princess, ordered the suit and has lost the suit, she wants to find this suit so that she can dominate the galaxy. That's her whole purpose.
I
once
know.
she finds
So
out.
I guess the question is she trying to wear the suit, or is she trying to find somebody with the right fit for the suit? You know what I mean? And
Well,
that's,
the suit fits whoever.
no, I know what you're saying, but I'm like, in my mind, I'm thinking, does she want to wear the suit, or is she trying to,
No, she
somebody else.
she wants to wear the suit. Yes, so she wants the suit so that she can dominate the galaxy. But she also believes that it matches her slime. She's
very slimy.
yeah. So some of the comedy hooks is that she just constantly belches during speeches. She does slip in her own mucus. Well, she demands loyalty. Half of her decrees are just petty insults, which kind of just matches with her
The
personality.
vibe, yeah.
And as we already discussed, Fly-Byzz constantly is slurping up her puddles like a fine wine mid conversation.
So that's just weird. Like she's talking, and all of a sudden you're,
Yeah,
and
you're
you're like,
like,
what are you doing, guy?
Get out of here.
Shut up.
So some of the quotes that she has is "Bow before your queen" or "Slip and fall trying. I don't care. Bring me the suit. It'll make me look fabulous in green. Do not question me. My mucus has more authority than you do." And then belches, "A royal decree. That was majestic."
I feel like you gotta be like, bruh.
Well, I don't have to belch.
No,
but
I know.
"A royal decree. That was majestic."
What?
You know.
Hold on a second. You sound like it's rolling up at that
don't know.
point. Anyways,
But that was Queen Mucus Chugger.
well, go ahead and talk about Earthworm Jim now, since you like talking about him.
So yeah, Earthworm Jim, he is obviously our protagonist, and the casting is one of the original voice actors from the original cartoon, and I don't know so much from the game, but from the original cartoon is Dan Castellaneta. Man, I just can't. I can't speak.
I was watching you, and you're like,
I don't know.
Castellaneta. Today, Junior. No.
Yeah. Castellaneta. He is also a lot of the voices from The Simpsons.
Yes, he plays, for example, Homer is the
Yes.
prime one that he does.
Oh, he does a lot of.
Oh, I
voices
know,
on it,
but that's how you would know him if you heard him.
right. And so, obviously, Earthworm Jim. We know a lot about Jim. He is just a normal worm until the super suit falls from space onto Earth. He crawls inside, and suddenly he becomes this kind of the super worm, and the worm's head becomes the pilot while the suit forms the body. And his quest, although heavily misguided,
Yes.
he misinterprets this glam photo, which is not really a glam photo because it's really just a photo of her with her mouth kind of like open, kind of weird. It's a weird looking photo. But he looks at this photo like she's in distress, and the tag on it is basically saying, "Hey, come rescue me, stud." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, she is in peril. I need to go rescue her. This is my mission in life. This is everything I've been wanting."
And this is where you probably first hear groovy, and he's like, all right, let's do this.
And of course, like his personality, he's a worm, so he's dumb. He thinks he's overly confident. He always does these heroic poses. He's narrating his own legendary moments, and he's living in his own action movie. That's him in a nutshell.
Yeah, I mean, if you were to watch some of the original like stuff on YouTube, just about like Earthworm Jim and like actually hearing him, both Matt and I were laughing at the fact of how like just abnormal and just like way out there
Yeah.
things that he was saying. So it'd be interesting to have again one of the original voice actors to play him doing this at the same time.
Yeah, and Dan now, he knows Earthworm Jim because he did him for so long, and it's great to have him doing the voice because he's gonna know the character and he's gonna know the ins and outs and what to say. And
It's also that nostalgic feel. Like even though it's a newer kind of concept, like you would still have that same vibe. Because like I mean, if you start to look at some of the other movies, like I said, I mentioned Sonic the Hedgehog, things like that. They still brought in like the same characters and the same certain things, but like
well,
they
even
switched things up.
Transformers. I mean, Transformers. They brought in Peter Cullen, like
Right, to play Optimus Prime.
Optimus Prime, and it's like if they brought in somebody else, like I mean, Transformers 1, they brought in a completely different guy.
No, oh, did they?
I believe they did.
I thought Peter Cullen was still.
Oh, maybe. I mean, I didn't watch it, but
I watched it. It was pretty good in my opinion. But anyways,
But,
not the point here.
So yeah, I mean, obviously the catchphrases we said them last time. Groovy, way cool, worm out, blasterific. Like he's gonna have a lot more than that. Like, and we don't write the scripts for these. Like we're just doing the main concept and the characters. But he'll have a whole lot more things to say, and we have some quotes too. A lot of the comedy hooks, like half of his victories, are complete accidents. I think we said this in the last time we recorded this, which again we had the technical glitch, but it's not like he's going to be the Jar Jar Binks of Earthworm Jim. Like I think Earthworm Jim will be a lot more tactical, and the suit makes him a lot more smarter than Jar Jar Binks was. Jar Jar Binks was just a stupid character.
It was also dumb luck. A lot of what he did was dumb luck.
And I think Earthworm Jim will be a lot more tactical, a lot more thoughtful. He will have more of a plan, even though he's more of just an idiot.
Yeah, I mean, and this is where again, that's where that comedic kind of feel for this character, even though he's trying to be more serious in some ways, but like having all that, we were actually, it just reminds me of what Matt and I were just watching. We were watching the old Naked Gun and just the stupid bullshit
Right.
that was going on.
Yeah.
So it'd be kind of that, but like in the sense of like, he's trying to figure this all out. I mean, again, he's trying to save the princess. He's trying to do all this stuff. So,
And even though Earthworm Jim is kind of like the main character, I really feel like Chewbert does more of the work.
Well, I mean, it's funny because Chewbert, even though like he's a sidekick, well, and you shouldn't really call him a sidekick. It's more like his companion, I guess, if you want to call it. But like, like he, with Chewbert, it's like one of those things, like because Earthworm Jim is like, oh yeah, he's my best friend, he's this and that. Chewbert does not think that whatsoever. Chubert's like,
No,
I'm using him as a chew
I'm
toy.
going to eat you as soon as I have a chance to. And Jim is just like,
Okay, come here, bud.
hey, bud, you're my best friend.
And Chubert's like, no,
I'm going to eat you as lunch as soon as I have a chance to. And I mean, obviously he's still in the suit, so he just doesn't get a chance to. But yeah, he does treat Chewbert like he's a loyal, sidekick and pet. Even though, yes, Chewbert just is trying to just eat him and use him as a chew toy.
Well, why don't you say one of the quotes for Chewbert here?
One of the quotes is, Chewbert, my loyal sidekick. Stop licking your lips like that.
That's the point. It's
Yeah.
like, it's one of those things. And then, like this top one, I feel like this one's probably my favorite of the quotes here. He's like, groovy. Wait, what does this button do? Oh no.
Yeah.
And he's just like, probably that's when he maybe figures out the rocket or whatever.
Fear not, fair maiden, for I, Sir Jim, shall. Ow, 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 ow. That stings. Yeah.
Victory. Was that supposed to explode?
Yeah.
Or
It's
something
just,
stupid like
it's
that.
just funny.
And then good old Princess. Oh my god.
Oh my God.
She's a royal pain in the ass. No, I mean, no, I'm joking.
And the arse.
And the arse. So the casting for this is kind of a newer actress. I wouldn't. Okay, maybe not newer, but I would say it's not like Tom Hanks. Okay, it's not like the longevity, but like she's relatively, I guess, newer. But her name's Zoe Deutsch. Sorry, Deutsch. She's been in a few things. I can't remember all of what she's done. I know she's been in some Disney stuff and some other TV shows. I think, didn't you say, was it Stranger Things or something like that? Or it was, I can't remember if it was something else as well. Maybe you can look that up in a second.
Yeah.
But anyways, so her role, right? So again, heir to Uzeron Six's throne, but more influencer than leader. So we mentioned before, it's kind of like your Gen Z TikToker or your Instagram model kind of a deal, and like wants to go shopping, wants to blog or vlog, depending on which way you look at it. But all right, tell me about Zoe real quick.
Well, I mean, as far as TV shows, she was in The Sweet Life on Deck.
Oh, that's what it was. Okay,
Yeah.
All right.
I mean, she's in like a bunch of different shows, like kind of one here, one there.
Okay, so she's more of like a side part here.
The biggest role that she was in and where she kind of fits into this was Zombieland Double Tap.
Oh, right. Yeah,
Because that's where she kind of played this, character that was very Valley Girl, very ditzy, it really connected with what Princess Oh Ma Gawd's character kind of was. And if you watch the movie, and I would suggest going and watch it, and then coming back and like listening to this, it's like just a perfect connection to how the character kind of just goes, because it's shopping sprees, glam live streams, just obsessed with her boyfriend Chad,
bro.
Yeah. bro. But yeah, continue.
Yeah, and then so the suit scheme, like kind of the main plot in the beginning, right? So like she's trying to, we've already talked about this a little bit, but buys Chad basically a black market super suit for Bugball domination, but instead it falls to Earth, and ends up with Jim. And again, so like Chad's something else, man. Because this guy, we've talked about it a little bit, but like he really is dumb. He's clueless. Think of like your dumb jock and like your football or something like that. Always trying to like be the bully in a sense.
He's the useless character in this
in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah, and so like he's not really a big part. He's just kind of like, bro, what's up? Hey, like he's just very, very quiet. Well, maybe not quiet, but like he doesn't really have any purpose per se besides just being eye candy for her.
Right.
But again, we've already talked about the scheme here, but like the personality, for her, she's very clueless. She's shallow. Think of like, again, we've talked about the Valley Girl energy, but like think of like Mean Girls and Clueless, kind of like if you added them two together, that's kind of the vibe we're getting here. And she constantly says, ew, gross, as if, and stuff like that. So like, comedy hooks, she live streams during battles. Hey, Bug fam, we're under attack, LOL. Like, like, okay, sure, let's do that mid battle. She basically treats Jim like an inconvenience and not a savior. So, we talked about that one scene and it devastates Jim in a sense. And so for her, it's like, get out of my face.
I mean, she never needed saving. So, I mean, for him to come and save her, like, he's
kind of there.
Yeah, I mean, it's just kind of there. And he, they think that Jim is absolutely gross. So, yeah, it's not like Jim for them is like, oh, you're gross. Like, you're totally gross. Like,
you're totally gross. Like, as if.
Yeah.
You're just a worm.
Ooh.
And so
gross.
So gross. Maybe I told you, man, maybe I think you really should play her. That's all I'm gonna say. Anyways, another comedy hook here. We got, Fawn's over Chad while ignoring her kingdom literally melting in slime. So that tells me right there, that's like, oh my God, look at your muscles, Chad. Oh, that's so nice. As basically the kingdom is literally on fire or like, burning, whatever. And it's just like disintegrating basically in the sense of like that. And you're just like, oh my God, look at you, Chad. That's so nice. Bro, can you stop looking at me, bro?
Bro.
So for her, she's got some quotes here that AI generated here, but ugh. Jim, can you like not slime up my live stream? My followers hate gross. Okay. And then we got Chad's the only hero I need. And by hero, I mean hot. It's just like, okay, cool. And then, oh my God, this is so embarrassing. My mom is literally trying to kill me on camera. I'm sorry. That was a little too good. That was a little too good.
Wow.
He's like, whoa.
You're telling me like I should have the role?
He's like,
I think you just nailed it, bro.
Like, okay. He's like, ew, Jim. personal space. you
Jeez.
smell like dirt.
Like actual dirt.
See, and you do it so well. Stop it. Is it? Look, I love how we're doing this. Maybe we should both play her. We have a little credit in it. Anyways.
Oh boy. Yeah, Fly-Byzz, this is my favorite right here. So Fly-Byzz, he's the buzzing fly bounty hunter, and the casting for this couldn't be any perfect because it's Andy Serkis.
So this guy, I'm telling you, when you look at him in Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, I mean, so many films, and actually, I don't know if he's been in a couple TV shows, but mostly films. But like, he just has this weird energy / the way he can create voices in general. Like when you hear him play
Right.
Gollum, like it's like super weird and sketchy and creepy at the same time. So like, have him be like, yeah, see, let me tell you something.
Have him doing that kind of like weird, buzzy,
like
mobster voice. Like, yeah, that would be just so epic from him. But so Fly-Byzz is this half fly, half insectoid alien. But unlike the disposable Fly-Boiz crew that he has that follow him, he has a full lifespan, and the Fly-Boiz have thus made him their immortal god, because most of them, yes, they only live a few hours and they die. So when they look at Fly-Byzz, he never dies. So for them, it's like, wow, you're our god. Like,
so I think of two things here, really real quick. So one is, I always think of Toy Story with the aliens going, ooh, the claw, and like you hear that. And then I just thought of one. It was Men in Black. And it was when I think it was Will Smith. He like walks in and he like opens up this like, it's like a civilization. Like, oh, all hail Jim. Oh, can you see? And they're like all singing together. And I just thought of it randomly, but I'm sitting there like, that's how I could see these guys going, Glenn the 154th, all hail Glenn, and you're like, shut up. Like, we don't need to hear that. But like, that's kind of that vibe I'm getting with, I mean, we'll talk about the Fly-Boiz here too in a minute, but like, that's that kind of vibe that I'm getting.
Yeah. So they kind of like worship him. So like, obviously, like, probably like when he shows up to a room, they're all like, Fly-Byzz, Fly-Byzz, he's here. Like they all
He's like, oh my God, okay.
They'll probably like freak out and their wings are all like going crazy.
I was just thinking about it. What if they did, we're not worthy, or something stupid like that. Yeah.
So he's a washed up mobster style bounty hunter. He's hired by Mucus Chugger and the royal family. So his personality, buzzing, slurred mobster style voice. He's bragging constantly about legend, and I'm using air quotes here, legendary jobs. They were actually flukes or accidents, and they weren't really legendary. He's obsessed with gloop, so he eats it, he drinks it, he uses it as currency for his Fly-Boiz, because they obviously are gross too, and
they'll eat anything. Yeah.
They'll basically eat anything, and that's his personality. I mean, he has that slurred mobster voice where he's like, yeah, see, like the classic like cartoon, like,
yeah, Muggsy, hey, here, come here, boy.
See, meow. His appearance, the compound eyes that you would typically see on a fly. The wings are very twitchy, the dripping proboscis mouth, and he was wearing a pinstripe mobster coat that is stained with slime. And some of the comedy hooks, he's constantly interrupted by flyboy funerals, which I would assume at this point is only making him even more angrier. And he's just sort of at that point where he's like, yeah, shut up,
Yeah, sorry.
He's failing at poker against his own minions who always die mid-hand.
So Glenn, the 154th.
They have their own little bar, and we'll get to the bar after we get through the characters, but they have their own little bar, and there's a poker table in this bar, and you can actually see, like in the picture, there's one falling out of the chair.
Oh, I actually didn't notice that, but I have to take a look at it again.
But yeah, they die mid-hand because, like I said, the Fly-Boiz don't live for very long. So he's paid in gloop, which he devours like champagne, and then he feeds to his minions. So some of the quotes, he's like, yeah, see, I always get my worm eventually. Buzzin' guarantee. I don't disrespect the Fly-Boiz. Which was Glenn? Which Glenn was that again?
Keep the credits, Queen. Just give me the gloop. Eh?
Legend says I never miss a hit. Truth is, I never tried sober.
I mean, I could, like I said, I'd be curious to hear what Andy's going to come up with this, because I would love to hear. I'm like, yes, keep doing that. I'm like, just keep the vibe going. It doesn't have to be exactly these quotes, but like, something. I was like, even if you improv, I mean, I just want to hear it so bad, especially with this character.
Yeah.
And then good old Chewbert, so he's kind of an ally, sort of. He's not really the trusting companion that Jim really thinks he is, but
he is. I mean, he is an ally, because I would have to. I feel like Chewbert has been alone for so long that there is somewhat of a connection between him and Jim. Like, Jim is giving him, I think, the attention that he wants.
Well, yes,
but he doesn't quite trust that Jim is like just for him, like he's just gonna stick around the whole time, because you have to understand, like, Chewert's just been alone on this planet. There's scavengers, and he's not just gonna trust Jim right out of the gate. So
no, I mean, by the end of the movie, you would think that Chewbert is kind of like is a little bit more trusting with him, and like kind of like develops that bond, I guess, in the very, I would say more at the end, because especially when he goes on a rampage, I think that's kind of like that defining moment for Chewbert to be like, maybe like, hey, okay, Jim's actually not a bad, maybe worm or whatever you want to say, right? Like,
yeah, I mean, maybe doing that. Maybe I'll still use him as a chew toy, but maybe I just won't eat him.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Yeah. So he changes his right. He changes his mindset.
Right.
So the casting for this is where I do agree. Like, again, when we're talking about certain actors that do really good voice acting, Alan Tudyk, like, he's done a lot. He's done a lot of movies, a lot of I know shows as well. He does. I know he's done a lot of voice acting, which actually for a while I actually didn't know he was a voice actor, but then I was like, oh wow, that's actually kind of cool that he is. But anyways, like, so I always think of, and the reason why it's one of my favorites is Dodgeball. Like, he's Pirate Steve, I think is what his character was. But like, he was in that. He was in a few other things. I know there was one, I think it was called The Alien or something recent.
Resident Alien.
Resident Alien, yeah. So like, it's just, he's done a lot of weird stuff, and so like, I think with him, I think it would really work with, kind of Chewbert, like, like trying to get into the character. And so,
I mean, he does a lot more quirkier characters, and I kind of get. I kind of get like what he does for voices. So, I mean, I'd be interested to see like his take on
Chewbert.
on Chewbert. And I don't know, I think AI took a much darker turn on Chewbert, because I don't know if I would have went that dark with the imagery. I think Chewbert could have been a little bit less intimidating looking.
I think in the like when you see him in his regular self, I mean, maybe you could be a little lovey-dovey kind of look, and then but still have the metal jaw. But then like, yeah, his hulking rampage mode, like that one, I would like you kind of want it to be a little terrifying in some ways, just to kind of get the point across.
I mean, it's not hard to just be like, doing that of a voice.
No, but
I think for Alan Tudyk, like, yeah, I mean, you can add effects, and you can add the reverb, and you can add like the delay and stuff to make his voice a little bit darker and sound more menacing. And then, he does, but Chewbert would just be noises. It wouldn't be like you're hearing Chewbert like, hello, how are you doing?
Well, so what I was thinking is when he put on the suit, what if, because I know Alan Tudyk, there's a couple times where I can't remember, I think he does like a British accent or something like that. I think it'd be kind of funny if he wore the suit and then he was talking like if he was like a British gentleman kind of a thing, and like as he's like,
I don't know about British.
Well,
but
I mean, it could be something different and stupid, but
what would be funny is if he just kind of talked like a normal, like, sort of like, I don't know if you've still not watched Superman. And if you haven't,
I have not watched Superman at this point. Yes, I know I need to watch it. Thank you very much.
It's freaking on. It's you can watch it.
I know
on HBO Max.
I will watch it on HBO Max. But anyways, keep going.
Unbelievable. But anyway,
fucking believe it. Wow. Okay. Anyways, go on.
Because Alan Tudyk does one of the robots that's in Superman, and it's just kind of like a no. I mean, he does that same kind of typical like accent, but it's just a normal voice, and I think that would be funnier than him trying to do like a, like a random Harry Potter-ish, like.
I love how you went. Hold on. I love how you had to go Harry Potter-ish kind
Well,
of
I mean, that's kind of like, the random, like, hello there. Like, like,
hello there, gentlemen. No,
my name is Chewbert. Like, I
come on. I think that'd be kind of funny.
No, I think
Anyways.
if he was just like, hey, my name's Chewbert, like,
My name's Chewbert. Let me talk to you for a
just
minute.
like that normal voice, and you're just like,
He
wait,
speaks.
you are like a huge hulking dog, and you have like a normal voice, like,
Yeah, and watch him be like, I have feelings, right?
it's
you know,
just
it
funny.
just.
Like, I'm still gonna eat you, you know that.
But anyways, yes, Chewbert. So first impression, right? We already talked about it a little bit, but like again, he's a junkyard mutt from an unknown world, maybe Earth. Maybe he was, somehow, I don't know, lifted or done whatever, right? He could be from there. One of the distinguished features, right, is his metal jaw that he uses to bite and chew on junk. His true form. Well, his true form. I call it just his like rage mode. We'll call it rage mode here. He turns into a two-headed rage beast when provoked, which makes sense, like I said. And then relationship with Jim, Jim declares that, that they're going to be best friends forever, right? And then Chewbert just sees him again as maybe lunch. So like I said in the beginning, you see that starting foundation point, and Jim's like, "Oh, hey, bud," and he's like, maybe I should just eat you right now and call it a day, But like, it just kind of goes into that. But like some of the comedy hooks we got here is like, burps up useful junk. So like, for example, like guns, armor, rocket boosters. Sometimes, most of the time it's probably just chewed up junk, like, maybe a rubber shoe or like a boot or something like it, just something random just comes out of his mouth. But, then rage mode again, destroys everything, often tossing Jim like a chew toy. So like, again, like I can only imagine like he flings them across and Jim's like, groovy, or like, he's just like, wowie, and he just like does his thing or whatever. But
yeah, it's like Jim's just doing his thing. He's like fighting the enemies and then the Glob Squad, and like Chewbert will just grab him and fling him across, and he's like, "Wowee!"
And he's like, "Okay," and then, like he goes on.
It's like a total random thing, and you're like, "Oh, okay,"
And then so I'll mention this one real quick. So it's supposed to be Globlobs, but I know in here it says Gooblobs. It's fine. They're the slime soldier. Yeah, Gooblobs. I don't know. It's
I still didn't fix it.
So the Globlobs, right? So these are the slime soldiers for Queen Mucus Chucker. She's the one that is in charge of them. But anyways, again, they're also going to be voiced as well as like different sounds from Alan Tudyk. So again, it's not just like one character he's going to do. He's going to do a little bit of everything, right? And so again, these guys again, they're drippy, they're gurgling, ooze grunts. They split smaller with every hit, and again. We talked about Globzilla a little bit. We'll talk about them more in a little bit here. But, they turn into Globzilla at one point, and so think of like, the Ghostbusters, like the Stay Puffed, like slime kaiju kind of feel. Like, so, like that's kind of how you would think, like this towering, like, again, just this towering, kaiju. I don't, maybe I'm having a brain fart right now. Anyways, Comedy Hazard again. They slip and slide.
The Globlobs would be that, these would be more of the sounds that, Alan Tudyk would be great for, because they wouldn't be doing, I think Chewbert would be a stretch a little bit because he's doing more dog-ish sounds, but the Globlobs are more of that, like, quirky, maybe more minionish, like gurgling and drippy, grunting, oozing kind of sounds. Where I think his voice would be suited better for that.
Well, right, and again, it's supposed to, a lot of the like Andy Serkis, like him and just like everybody else. Like I feel like they'll do a great job at doing it. I think we just at this point for us, we would have to give them more improv. Like, show me what you would think this would look like, kind of a deal. And I think they would do really well in trying to get those voices done.
Right.
Go ahead. I know you want to talk about this guy.
Yeah. So I can do the next two.
All right. Then go ahead.
So the Glob Squad. These are the elite troopers for the Queen and the Princess. So these are your larger armored Gloop troopers. They march kind of like a parody of the Stormtroopers, but they're they do constantly trip in slime. Their armor is covered in slime. They act as, generals and soldiers for the Queen's forces. And the casting, at least for the voice, because a lot of these Glob Squad elite troopers will be in full armor from head to toe. So a lot of the troopers will just be, random actors, right? They'll just be regular actors in these full suits. They're not going to be seen.
Right. But who's gonna voice it, man? That's the question.
John DiMaggio.
So
And he's been the voice of Bender, Jake the dog. I mean, he's done probably thousands of different characters.
oh yeah, so like it just a minute, bite my shiny metal ass, like think of that, but like just in this case the Glob Squad, because I mean he's just got a certain tone, a certain voice about him that you just know like that's him, like
Right.
No, go ahead, because I'm not
Oh
gonna
yeah,
jump ahead here.
I think he will have just the ability of doing sort of like what they did similarly to the stormtroopers that were like in Clone Wars, where they all kind of had a similar voice, but like you could kind of tell them apart by how they talk. So John DiMaggio can kind of have that range where he can do some of these like voices where they sound different, but they're kind of similar in nature.
Right.
And I think that that's kind of really cool. So moving on to the Fly-Boiz. These are the cult minions for Fly-Byzz.
This one I will say the two voices that
Oh, these
are legendary just by themselves. But go ahead.
These are great casting. And so we already discussed the Fly-Boiz. They're short-lived. They have a constant cycle of death, and then there's a new one vomited out as a maggot, and then it becomes an instant adult. Some of the names will be like Glenn, Bob, Jeff, and then their number. So if there's been, 79 Bobs, it'll be like, this is Bob the 79th. And then if the new one's born, it'll be Bob the 80th. You get the gist of that. They have these Fight Club style funerals when one dies. So it'll be like, his name was Todd the 57th. He was a fly boy. And they do this every time a new one dies. And like I said, they're short-lived, so there's always one die. There could be multiple, so you might hear, his name was Todd, and then there's another one, his name was... So there could be 3 or 4 all at the same time, and they're all shouting, and it'd be just Fly-Byzz going, shut the hell up!
So imagine Tom Kenny, like if he used the voice, like, since again, he was in SpongeBob and Ice King, or so he was the Ice King in, Adventure Time and stuff. Imagine him going, I know we did this last time, but like, he's like, Glenn the 97, or like what it was like, hey, just like doing something like that. And then you got, Billy West.
Billy West.
Because this guy with, playing Fry, Zoidberg, Ren, so that's what it was, Ren and Stimpy. Him and Ren and Stimpy, I mean, it was just you idiot! It was like, I can't even do it, but it was just the way he was doing it. But imagine these two doing that, like, just opposite each other, and like one of them, like you said, like Glenn, the 157th, and like, you idiot, or something stupid like that.
Yeah, I mean, Zoidberg has more of like that like his name was like he has that like weird, the way he talks. But yeah, I mean, between Tom Kenny and Billy West, like doing these Fly-Boiz, like the ability for them to kind of like work side by side in the same room and being like working together off of each other, like, oh, I would love to be like in that room.
I think both of us would just love to sit there and watch these two just go at it with each other.
They would just be that would be the most hilarious thing to see, because these Fly-Boiz, because there'd be so many interactions, and you would be throughout the whole movie. I mean, they would just be doing these Fight Club funerals. They would be worshiping Fly-Byzz the whole time. I mean, they're probably like one of the funniest sets of characters in this movie.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, I know it might be a smaller part in the movie, but I mean, just having those two do it together, and then, if one's like, this is Glenn the 157th, and he's like, and then one of them's like, shut up, and like they're just like opposite each other. I don't know. I really do want to see it.
It's a great pairing, and I absolutely love the casting, and I love these characters because they're just so funny and so stupid, and it makes sense because the whole thing. I mean, if you guys are listening to this and you're like, this is just a stupid idea, yes,
that's the point.
It is. This is a parody satire. It's a chaotic comedy.
Again,
So
I was going to say, think of our skit. What if, but stupid,
if you pitch the idea Naked Gun, the whole fucking movie is stupid.
Correct. And that's the whole point of the movie.
And that's the whole point of the movie. Like, the whole thing is stupid. And that's the whole point of it. Like, it's stupid. It doesn't make sense. You would never have a character in a movie called Queen Mucus Chugger who oozes slime.
Right. Not in a movie like Naked Gun. No, I mean, that would just be dumb.
Oh, no, not. I mean, maybe.
No, maybe if you want to be stupid about it.
Maybe.
Anyways, all right. Anyways, then you got good old Globzilla, as we were mentioning.
Globzilla.
Yes, Boss Kaiju. So, and this is where John DiMaggio again would do a really good job since he's already playing the Glob Squad, kind of a deal. Having him be this like giant, glob monster raging, whatever you want to call it, through a city. So again, he's swatting Jim into orbit. It's terrifying, but also clumsy. Constantly trips, loses chunks of slime, slips over himself, just like again the Glob Squad or the Glob Blobs. It's just I think like we've said, like all the voices so far, like I mean, if we could get them, absolutely. But if we couldn't, then I hope we would find somebody that was just at least damn near close. You know what I'm saying? Like that. That's just,
Well, I mean, the idea is that we have all these people. I mean,
I know it's an ideal world here. I understand that.
I mean, if we're making this movie for 500 million,
then we better damn well get.
Then that's the idea is that yes, this is our. I mean, this 100% would be our casting. That's the assumption.
Correct. But I know that moving forward from characters, I know we talked about some of the different worlds and locations and stuff, but for example, like we don't really need to talk about Earth. We clearly know what Earth is. If you've been living under a rock, I don't know what to tell you.
I mean, I would say that some of the tones when we're talking about like when we actually see the worms would be like more of like Honey, I Shrunk the Kids or like that Ant-Man scale where we're shrinking down and we're seeing like maybe the individual blades of grass.
Right.
Where we're actually seeing that like smaller scale of stuff. But yeah, I don't think we need to go into like, hey, what does Earth look like?
Yeah, it's,
if you don't know what Earth looks like, just open your window.
Either that or go pull up the globe or the map or something because everything's around you.
So yes, and then we also talked about Uzeron 6. So I'm not gonna like we're not gonna rehash some of this stuff because I think if you want to go back to our last episode, we did talk about this right at the start of the episode, where we go into the AI versus Hollywood. It was right at the beginning of that. So Uzeron 6, that is the Glooparian homeworld. Chrysalon, this is the insectoid homeworld that is now occupied by the Glooparians. They are taking over this planet. And we have also Trashopolis Prime. This is where Chewbert was calling home. This was not his natural home, but this is where he was calling home.
Well, since you've just been talking about all this stuff, I'll mention certain things about the basement layer. We'll share this part, okay? So Fly-Byzz basement layer, this is where I know we talked about it a little bit where, it's on Chrysalon. We talked about like what was the vibe of it, right? It's like a, think of a mobsterish, like poker bar, whatever you want to call it. Like think of like an old style, we'll call it a mob room in a sense, like, from back in the day. And so, again, it's supposed to be funny, right? So it's a mafia parody. There's a big old giant neon sign that says the buzzness.
The buzzness.
The buzzness,
This is where the buzzness happens.
And then, good old, this is where we talked about it before, but like the poker table, right? So like, you're always seeing, these Fly-Boiz, dying in mid-hand. And so like in the concept art, you'll see it.
There's a bunch laying on the floor too. It's such a gross like little picture.
And then like, you got the slimy mobster decor with bug-sized, pinups. So like, again, think of like your probably 40s and 50s pinup girls, things like that. But in this case, it'd be like more of the flies in probably like a certain outfit or something. And then, of course, this is what Matt talked about in the last episode, the more the take the cannoli, leave the gloop. You know,
Yes, and
kind
that's
of a thing.
the joke here is a lot of what we were saying was the movie will probably have a lot of different movie references. This one, if you don't know the reference, it's straight from The Godfather. Because Fly-Byzz and these Fly-Boiz are probably straight from like that 1930s, 1940s ish mobsters, and this quote is similar to. I mean, granted, it is reversed, but it's similar to that quote that is in The Godfather, which was "Leave the gun, take the cannoli." When the hit was taken out in one of the scenes, because he's like, no, leave the gun, take the cannoli, because they had cannolis in the car.
Right.
So he was like, no, leave the gun, take the cannoli. Except this time they're saying, hey, take the cannoli, leave the gloop. You know?
Yeah, right. And then, so I mean, we're not going to really talk about Trashopolis again because we've already mentioned that before. But like, this is the part where, especially with some of the like the battles and like the space travel stuff. Again, we talked about this actually like in the very beginning too. But like Jim, lassos himself with his own warm body and stuff. So like that was again, that's kind of like paying homage to the game and like him as a character, kind of like just being able to see that. Again, even the jet engine rocket ride, when he's again, we've talked about it in the beginning too of like the first act, or actually no, it was the second act. Globzilla just like smacks him, gets into a jet engine, from an airplane, and then gets traveled into space, and the whole thing about that. But like, that's where again paying homage again to his character and from back in the day,
right?
And then the whole Globzilla versus Jim showdown. This is where, again, I mean, it's actually really twice because, when you think about it, the first time, like, Jim doesn't have a clue. He doesn't have a clue about how to defeat him or it. Sorry, I'd probably say it, and just, he gets smacked. So he doesn't really have a chance to, like, understand what he's facing. And then, like, once you see him again in, like, the later battle later on, that's when, he's like, oh, wait a minute, hold on. I remember, like, if I shot him, they go small or whatever. And so, like, that's when you were talking about AI, give me an ending where we could see how this is going to work.
Yeah. Because it's really, I mean, even there's a few battles where he's fighting against these globs, which are what Globzilla is made up of.
Right.
Where, he's shooting them and they're just not, they don't die because they just split into smaller pieces.
Right.
And then they just form back into like the normal size globs. And, it's sort of like, there's no actual way to kill these things because they just keep getting smaller and smaller and smaller. And then they reform back to their original size. And then they get, obviously they form up to this big, Globzilla. And then every time he shoots it, they just split off into little ones. And then they just reform back into the big one. So, yeah, it's just one of those things of like, when I went back to AI and I was like, listen, there needs to be a way for Jim to defeat this thing because we can't just leave it like the Globzilla is just this unbeatable character in this movie because he needs a way to be like, to defeat this and have it still be funny. And the way that, like we said in the last episode, he finds this button that basically just says overload and has no idea what it does. And basically what it does is it shoots an overloaded, laser bolt. But what it also does is it explodes in his hand as well. So, yes, it does destroy the ray gun altogether, but there's a gloop explosion is what AI called it. And there's just gloop for probably miles.
Well, you went from yards to miles, but no, it's fine. No, I
mean, there's gloop all over. I mean,
it's already gloopy enough. I mean, they're just going to get more gloop.
Yeah, I mean, if you imagine something the size of Globzilla exploding, I mean, there's gloop raining down all over.
Oh yeah, and I mean, again, it's nasty. I mean, basically, you have to think of it like a nasty giant pile of slime just all over everywhere. But now you're seeing Jim also being buried in it, even though he's like at this point, he's alive for sure, but like
Oh, yeah.
he's just hiding in there. But and then we talked about it a little bit, of course, in the last episode. But this is where I'm also still going to say that with the rival worm and the suit, basically, like I said, we had this theory. I'll just kind of re-mention it again, but like maybe it is that worm in the very beginning, like maybe like Matt was saying in the last episode, like has a scar, has like a different color variation of the worm's skin, or whatever. Maybe it's blue, maybe it's pretending to maybe almost be dead but not really dead, and maybe that's just the color he came out to be. I don't know. And have the darker kind of tone to it, like maybe with Jim having like kind of the normalish, I guess, cartoony eyes. Maybe this one might have like maybe red glowing eyes, or something that's more devious in a sense.
Yeah.
And just being able to show that, yes, even though Queen Mucus Trigger is she had that quote at the very end, saying, "I'm gonna have all the bounty hunters in the galaxy after that suit," and basically Jim's riding off in the sunset, just saying, "What?"
Like groovy. He's at the end he's like looking back and he's like groovy.
But
he's like basically like, I don't care, come after me. Like I got the suit, I got the dog. Like
right. And so like, with this rival worm, it's like, again, that it just sets up hopefully if it was ever a sequel, then you would set up the tone for that. So you can be like, hey, cool, now we got a new villain, so that we just, you keep the story moving along. And then again, who knows?
Yeah.
And again, that's a perfect world, or an ideal world. But this is all just if Hollywood, or I mean, shit, I wouldn't go to Fox at this point. I would probably go to like either like an HBO, or I think we talked about this last time, but like HBO, Amazon, or someone that's basically not Disney, or possibly Warner Brothers.
Right.
I would go anywhere, but I mean HBO, and I was thinking about it too, because guess who owns HBO? Warner Brothers. So
well,
I mean,
I would still go to HBO. I would go to maybe Paramount. I definitely would not shop this at Disney. No, I would stay away from fucking Disney. I would not want to touch it at all. But Amazon, I would not go to Netflix either with it.
See, and it depends, man. It really depends. I mean,
a movie maybe Netflix, but that would be if HBO or like maybe Stars did not want to touch it. You know what I mean? Like if like HBO, Stars, or Amazon, or any of those other bigger studios did not want to touch it, maybe. But there are other studios out there that could possibly be interested in it as well. So I mean, there are other studios other than those ones, but I mean, those ones would be the first ones that I would go to.
Well, right, because I mean, at this point, you want a capable studio that, again, we're not asking for a lot. Believe it or not, I mean, if you think about like movie budgets and things like that, I mean, most typical movies now are definitely within probably the range of what we're talking about, and I mean, we'll probably, I mean, yes, we're going to use CGI. That's a give me on that one. There's no way you couldn't do a movie like this without it, but like. Yes, we are going to add in practical effects. We're going to add in those things, but we're not going to sit here and just say, okay, it's all CGI, or it's all animated, it's all this and that. No, we're going to...
I mean, the one thing that I know for definitive fact that a studio would push back on is they would be like, yeah, well, you don't really have like a lead actor.
You don't really need
in this movie. Like, we really want you to have like, maybe like Chris Pratt, or somebody like, somebody who's that selling point of like, you have Chris Pratt as Earthworm Jim. It's like somebody, what I mean? Like somebody who's a name that people recognize.
So the thing is like, even watching the Super Mario, or the new, basically the Mario movie, in a sense, it's just like you have Chris Pratt being Mario, and you have I can't remember his name. Another guy, Charlie Day, I think, is the other one for playing Luigi. But like, looking at that, I mean, Jack Black made the performance of Bowser. I mean, that's just me. I just thought it was funny with his whole song. I mean, that's just me, though. I understand maybe you didn't watch it. I don't know if you actually did or not.
No.
Okay. So it is weird when you have, again, Chris Pratt playing Mario, as a name. And so it's like, okay, well, I never would have chose particularly him, probably at first. I mean, but like I said, it's like you want to just make sure, like, if you're adding the true nature of this character or the nostalgic effect, like, I want the original voice actor, or at least the ones that were in it, or at least one of them to play it. Like, that's why we chose Dan Castanella.
I completely understand, and I know exactly where you're coming from, and that would be like my fighting point of going, no, like, this is a nostalgia factor of, if you want fans of the character, fans of the game, gamer fans to watch a gamer movie, you need the nostalgia. Like, this is why
you follow
your fucking video game movies fail. This is why you have Halo on fucking Netflix and not Paramount Plus anymore, because
do they actually switch?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
If you go on to Netflix,
I didn't know that.
Halo is going to be on now. There was a huge freaking graphic of Halo when I turned on Netflix the other day, and I was like,
I had no idea.
So now Halo is on Netflix, and it's like a Paramount Plus production of Halo is now on Netflix because Netflix bought it.
I had no idea. That's funny. I had no.
So
wow.
You wonder why these fucking projects fail, is because there's no nostalgia anymore, and they keep fucking it up. And it's like,
follow the fucking blueprint.
If you want this movie to be a success, we're following a blueprint based on the original concepts. Even though this is a brand new story, we have the original concepts. Even the names of the characters follow the original names. Like, we have Queen Mucus Chugger. We followed the names.
Well, I mean, there's difference in names, like names.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't do Queen Slug for a Butt. Queen,
what's her name?
We did Queen Mucus Chugger, which is different. But Mucus Chugger is like, it follows what she is, like what her character is. And then, we didn't do Princess What's Her Name, but we did Oh My God, because she's a Valley Girl.
I mean, no offense, we didn't do Bob the Killer Goldfish or Evil the Cat, but I mean, I'm just saying, like,
but those could be other villains that could be introduced later on, where we could do similar bounty hunters. You know what I mean? Like, they could be other bounty hunters that could be maybe not a goldfish or something else, but they could be other.
Yeah, different types. I mean, absolutely. I mean, because again, I mean, if you want to we're keeping the nostalgic piece here. I mean, granted, I know Chewbert really wasn't a character in the original game.
No, but there was a dog.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying, like, we're trying to keep it as basically back to the original as possible. But yes, we're changing certain things, we're doing certain other things, but at the same time, we're not trying to change a complete story. We're just trying to follow what we were given and make sure that is.
Yeah, we're enhancing and trying to make it. We're trying to make it unique, but trying to keep the nostalgia factor alive.
Correct. I mean, the only original character technically is Earthworm Jim, because again, hence the name, hence the whole point of the movie. But at least everything else, it's like,
which AI wanted to change to Mike.
I'm sorry. Did you just say it wanted to change it to Mike?
Yes, they kept calling him Earthworm Mike, and I was like, no, we're not fucking changing his name to Mike. That's stupid and gay. Like, no, we're not doing that.
Hold on, what was that? What was the last part you just said? It was stupid and
gay.
Wow,
we're not doing that.
Wow. So
like,
wait,
no, his name is gonna be Jim, and that's it. I'm not calling him Mike, Jeff, Greg, Glenn, Bob. I'm not calling him anything else but Jim. And I said that to that ChatGPT, and it was like, "You're absolutely right. That's fantastic." And I'm like, "I know, because I fucking said it to you."
You need to listen for me. No, I mean, I know the reason why I was asking is because I'm thinking, wow, are you calling the name Mike gay? Is that what you're saying? Because I'm like, even though my brother's name is Mike, so I'm just wondering what you meant.
No, I said calling him Earthworm Mike.
No, I know. I'm joking. Anyways, no, but yeah, we're just gonna try to wrap things up here. I mean, with Earthworm Jim, I'm glad we're able to do this. I know I can't mention too much. Let's just say that Matt this started out as a joke, and it turned into something really kind of funny in the concept, and so we were both joking around about it, and then all of a sudden we were like, this is going to be a great like AI versus Hollywood. Again, not mentioning what it is, but you'll find out down the road, but it's definitely going to be funny. It's going to be interesting. It's a very unique take on, let's just say, the past, or at least the 90s in general. That's all I'm going to say. But anyways, yeah. So next time, I know we got, our Evolve episode, and we're going to have our Halloween after that. If I'm not mistaken, is that correct, man?
I believe so. I can take a
peek.
A Gonda.
I love Gandhi. But yes, Evolve episode, again, we're going to have a Halloween episode. So yeah.
We have our Evolve Fear episode, which isn't quite what you think it is. I'll say that.
We'll leave it at that.
I'll leave it at that. And then we have our Halloween episode, which is our Geeky Urban Legends.
So yes, so like again, we're excited to bring out this new stuff. Again, I mentioned Fist before, but follow, interact, subscribe, tell your friends. Again, can't do it alone. We gotta have you guys help us out here. Two dudes, two different mics. That's just what it is, man. But again, check us out. You know where to follow us. Hopefully, if not, go to geeksfromthemultiverse.com, and guess what? You'll find everything you want there, and all the different portals, all that fun stuff. So until next time, boys and girls.